the maths. Now, when I saw you on our Zoom, when I saw you on Friday, we did 2 of the 3 questions. Let me just show you. I wrote them down. If you look carefully, we did question 1. I did question 2, where it was a simultaneous equation, and one was exponential and the other one quadratic. And then I wrote down this level 4 question, and I said, you try it. Let's see out of 4 how many marks you can get. Now, I've made the memo. I'm going to start with the number 3, which is the hardest. So I'm starting today with the hardest one. Okay, I did those. Then I've got other questions that I will start going through after the lesson. As far as after the lesson, directly after the lesson, I will send you this memo because I've done it. And I will send you through the memo for whatever we don't, for the second worksheet, only later tonight, so that I'm giving you a chance to do it. Okay, so let's get cracking. I'm just putting that there, if you don't mind. This was such a clever question. It was in a matric final, and it's definitely the level 4. I'm going to say hard, because I think most of you would find it hard. It's hard for a teacher to actually grade a question, because we might just think that was fun and easy, but I know kind of most of you wouldn't like this. But they gave us 2 things. Excuse my voice. They said if the base 5 to the power exponent of 10x, they said equals to 1,600. And they also gave us some other piece of information. They said 2 to the exponent of the square root of y equals to 25. Then they said, excuse the voice, 8. Okay, evaluate. See how my brain works. 8, evaluate. Evaluate. Remember, that means simplify, but your final answer will become a number, never a variable. Now, I'm just doing this to my board so I can be a little bit more organized. This is going to be page 1 because I won't fit it on. And then when I get to the bottom here, then the rest of the sum will just be on page 2. I want to try and be a little bit more organized than I have been. All right, what did we have to evaluate? They said, will you evaluate the base 5 to the exponent of x minus 1 in a bracket raised to the exponent of 5 all over 4 to the exponent of minus the square root of y. Only 4 marks. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say to me, ma'am, when I finish this, surely that was more a 5 or a 6 mark. And I'm going to say, fortunately for you guys, they tend to underweight the harder questions so that the majority of you guys don't lose too many marks. These are the kind of questions that differentiate the 80s from the 90s and the 70s from the 80s. So, but I said, if you remember, I said with every level 4, you should be able to at least do some of it and get at least 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 4. Where you can all get some marks, you know that when you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you distribute, multiply. Now you're going to distribute, multiply like that. So in the base 5 to the exponent of 5x, 5, and we're going to break 4 to 2 squared minus the square root of y. Now that would be, I think, wait, maybe one more step to get them. You would have gone 1 step further maybe and multiplied that. So I just want you to see the bottom of my board. Yes, you can. I'm just going to squeeze one more line on page 1, equals. So I'm going to break this into factors. 5 to the 5x dot, which means times, 5 to the minus 5 over multiply. 2 to the exponent of minus 2 times the square root of y. Now, I don't know how they mark this, but this is definitely 1 mark. Maybe 2 even. And I don't see why any one of you guys behind that phone can't at least get 1 out of 4, which is 25%. Now, I'm going to rewrite it here. Over, do you see 5 has a negative exponent and we're timesing everything? Do you agree I can bring this down into the denominator, the line of the exponent? 5 to, excuse my voice again, whatever happens, please do not work out what 5 to the 5 is and write that big number, because this is no calculator, all right? And I have no idea what 5 to the 5 is. Okay, what you could do, you could break it maybe to 5 to the 5 is the same as me going 5 squared times 5 squared. So that's 25, right? That's 25 times 5 to the 1. And if you add those exponents, you get 5 to the 5. So that's a clever trick. Clever trick number 2, you see this 2 here with the strange exponent, but it is a negative exponent. So you can jump the line, change the sign. So I can bring the 2 up into the numerator, and then instead of it being my 2 times the square root of y. That's the exponent. Now this is where the fun comes in. If that was a mark, do you see what I'm saying? I think you could have all got 2 out of 4. I really do. It becomes, you've got to say, why did they give you this? Okay, but given, they told me that 5 to the exponent of 10x equals to 1,600. Now, they wouldn't give you that if I wasn't going to use it. Now, please take note. There is 5 to the 5x. There's 5 to the 10x. So you should say to yourself, well, let me square root both sides. Let's start here, because I've told you a million times, when you take the root, you do this. So that becomes now 5 to the 5x. Now you might say, Mrs. Holmboe, you would go plus minus, am I right? And I'd say, yes, but. Yes, but. Remember, a base to an exponent with a variable can never, ever be negative. And that is why it can only actually be a positive. Now we need to square root that. Now, I'm just thinking where my calculator, oh, luckily I've done it. You could cheat there and use your calculator. You see, the square root of 16 is 4. So, and then you take away, so it will be 40, a 0. But quite frankly, when I made the memo, I did it in my head without thinking. And now I'm, on screen. I couldn't, but they wouldn't know. Okay? So you're not going to get a whole mark for that. There's just too much to do. But do you see, in the numerator here, I have 5 to the 5x. So 5 to the 5x equals to 40. Then do you understand I can replace this here with 40. So in the next line, we have 40 times, coming to this now, here, let's just go, let's keep the rest red, 5 squared times 5 squared times 5 to the 1, which is 5 to the exponent of positive 5. Now, next clever trick, right? That must be a mark. See, I don't know where the marks are. Maybe that's not a mark. I don't know. I just wanted to say this. Do you agree when you have an exponent raised to the exponent, do you agree you multiply them? But what do you know about multiplication? You can multiply in any order. So the clever trick, so every time I do a clever trick, I just have to change the color, is that I am going to change this to base 2 to the exponent of the square root of y raised to the exponent of 2. Now think about it. That is exactly the same, because you can multiply in any order. Now, why did I do that? I'm going to just have to write here. You see, it was given that 2 to the square root of y was 25. Oh, my word. This whole sum is starting to fall into place. So that 25 goes there. So now, watch this. We should be able to just fit it. We've got 40 times. All right? Now, do you understand? This becomes 25 squared. Now, 25 squared just means 25 times itself. Just so you know that. That is 25. I suppose I should use red. 5 squared is, 5 squared is 25. So maybe we should write that. 25. And then we still got 5 to the 1. So if you all watch finale, and this is to me Shakespeare in maths. It's like one of these sonnets. That factor of 25 cancels once into each other and again there, and we are left literally with 40 divided by 5, and the answer is 8. Now, as far as the 4 marks, I suppose 1 will be for the answer. Okay, 1 would definitely for getting to at least there, maybe even more. I think 1 for doing that and 1 for knowing that clever trick that became that. So that would be my opinion where the 4 marks went. Now, in case you joined late and you're thinking to yourself, there's no ways I would have got that. That was the level 4. Remember, you only get 1 hardish question for 4 odd marks per section. So in other words, let's say your exam is paper 1. Let's say it's 8 questions. Question 1 for 20 marks, question 2 for 20 marks, question, etc. In grade 11, question 1 is normally your algebra with your the K method, the isolate the surd question, algebraic fractions, use the quadratic formula, quadratic inequalities, simultaneous equations. Would nature brutes go there? I think so. And in grade 11, question 2 is normally the exponent question. All right? So what I'm trying to say is the rest of the exponent stuff would be on a level 2, worst case level 3, 1 or 2, but you'd only get 1 of these, so you're not going to fail. I will prove to you, Zooms, and as long as I have a voice, that not getting less than 50. Okay? It doesn't matter how many of these little quick, you should just say, I've been taught what to do, I know what to do, etc. Now, the irony is my watch has died, and I need someone to just tell me when I have 5, because I have no idea of the time now. So I'm going to just carry on. And if someone could just say, ma'am, you have 5 minutes left. Thank you. Right. I'm going to send you this memo. So Muni panic me, ne? Okay. There's the memo. Okay. I just got to erase this board. Now we're just going to go over some of what we've done already. And then I'm going to start, my aim is to start bringing surds in. And then I can teach you as hard as surds get. Because that becomes, this is all new work to you. Actually, since I started the harder exponential equations and the bringing in K method and that, this is all now new to you. You never saw that in grade 10. Okay, so I've actually been on new work the whole of last week, even though we only had 3 lessons because I was sick on Tuesday, I think, and Aisha, I think, had a Wi-Fi problem on Wednesday. All right. Sorry. I maybe need water next to me. That's much better. Right, now, solve for x. Now, I've these questions, so I'm going to write it down, 2 dot, which means 2 times x to the 2 over 3 equals to 50. Now it's 3 marks. You would be given at least 3 minutes. But I'm not going to give you 3 minutes. I'm going to give you 1 minute, because you either know what to do or you don't. Now, if you've been taking notes of what I've done in previous lessons, you should know exactly what to do. And you see, if you're not practicing with our textbook, remember, you have the textbook. You find this section and practice. Go to the answers, mark them. If you don't understand, ask me. Okay, so I'm giving you 1 minute of silence to try it. Starting now. I have no watch. I don't know if that was 1 minute. I'm so sorry. I just absolutely cannot tell the time at the moment. I should have come to 60. Okay, I've told you if the base is the variable, this is called a rational exponent. So step 1 is you must isolate the x base, which means you've got to get rid of that 2 first. So you divide both sides by 2. So to agree, you're going to get x to the 2/3 rational exponent. And what is 50 divided by 2? We get 25. Now, keep watching. How do we get rid of a fractional exponent? Well, we raise it, the whole of the left side, to the reciprocal exponent, because our aim is x to the +1. It's a ghost, right? Exponent. So do you agree I would have to raise it to 3/2? So that an exponent raised to an exponent, you multiply, and the 3's would cancel once, the 2's would cancel once, and I would get my x to the 1. Now, for those who've been listening, so I'm just going to put you as a step, raise exponent to, do you want me to just go upside down? Reciprocal exponent. All right. If the denominator, yes, 5 minutes left, let me guess.
Will they ever, no, will they ever tell us to do a calculation like this without a calculator?
Yeah, this is no calculator. I don't need a calculator for this. Okay? What do you need a calculator for yet? Could you divide 50 by 2?
Yeah, I mean the 25 to the 3/2. To the exponent of 3/2.
Okay, but don't panic. I'm just going to do the same to both sides. I don't need a calculator yet. Do you understand? That cancels there. That cancels there. So do you see I don't need a calculator? Now, do you remember I said, just remember I said, if you raise it to an even denominator, do you remember you get a plus-minus solution? If you raise to an even denominator, so if they're reciprocal, the one you raise, up, flip it. If raised to even denominator, right? You get the plus minus, that solution. So you know it's going to be plus minus. That's a rule, just learn it, right? So now 25, there's your plus minus, is just 5 squared. Do you agree? And we're raising that to the exponent of 3/2. Now, whoa. Okay, that 2 is over a ghost 1. So remember, when you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you times, and that means I can cancel 2 goes into 2 once. So I am left with x equals plus or minus 5 to the exponent of 3. And I can actually do that. I think you'd get full marks for that, but I think that's 625 out of memory. And if I'm wrong, no, I think it's 125.
And
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think 5 to the 4. I'm thinking of something else. Doesn't matter. 5. I just checked you and me, Tanaka. You are. I did fix it, but thank you very much. All right. So, some of you like to screenshot. That's why I give you a few seconds if you screenshot it. But remember, you'll get the questions. These are the questions. And I want you to finish whatever I don't do. That was the first one, number 1. And I will only send this memo tonight so that you've got the rest of the day to do it. Now, I still have more than 5 minutes, I'm gathering, because no one said you have 5 minutes left.
You have
Sasha,
13 minutes,
can you
ma'am.
tell me how many minutes? Sorry?
You have 13 minutes.
Oh, that seems like forever. Thank you. I can just kulu leka. I can kulu leka. Okay, angels. The next one. Now, this is a little bit tricky. You haven't seen it before, but you have. You've kind of, sort of, but not really. Okay? Now, don't panic. When you panic me, I'm going to show you what to do. Now, the first thing we notice is the base is the x, and we have rational exponents. But you notice this time I have terms. Now, the minute we get terms, have you learned one thing from me? That is when you factorize. All right? So, this is where you will not at this point raise to a reciprocal exponent. All right? I want to see if you can see, look carefully at this index. Remember, index is just for exponent. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at that index of the variable x, and I want you to look at that index. Okay? So I'm going to put there, look. And does anyone see something that they could tell me? Does anyone notice something about the relationship of the two
They
variables?
both have a base 3.
Okay, they both have a base 3. Okay, if you're a detective, you've definitely, that's a clue, but I don't need that so much as, what else?
there's also one space is one number higher than the other space.
Okay, I know what you're trying to say there, Tanaka. I think what he's trying to say is this is double this. Because if you take the smaller one, we all agree 1/3 is smaller than 2/3. If you double something, you times it by 2, which is over 1. So if you double something, you times it by 2 over 1. Do you see then I would get 2 over 3. So if you see that this is double that, it's k-met. Wow. So now watch. Let x, always the smaller one, to the third equals to k. Do you understand why, therefore, x to the 2/3 would be k squared? Now, some of you are going to say, no, I don't understand. So let me show you again. If x to the 1/3 is k, and we have x to the 1/3 times x to the 1/3. Do you agree? Using my exponent rule, same base, multiply, add the powers. You get two of these. Do you agree with me? So 2/3, which is like that. That plus that is 2 over 3. But if this is k, now do you see why k would be k squared, would be that one. All right, now I haven't seen one of these questions for a long, long time, but I will, probably find maybe it comes up this. So you must tell you exactly, use K method, you must always say let whatever be K. And guess what, guys? You don't have to use K. If you want to use M, if your name is Michael and you think a capital M is like cool, feel free to let it be M. You can make it any variable. Just whatever the hell you do, don't make it X. So any variable other than the real variable, okay? So let X to the third be K. So now you're going to get, therefore, 3 times K squared minus 13 times K minus 10 equals to 0. Again, for those who are always using the quad formula, do you see why I keep saying you're never going to finish? You've got to learn to factorize these guys. And when you do your NBTs next year, university entrance, they only test maths and English, no calculator. So, you've got to learn these. I've told you every lesson, look there, the difference of 13. The last sign is minus, so we're looking for the difference of Piggy in the middle, which is 13. All right, so we have 3 times 1. I personally never flip the first term because it's like first is most important. So think of that as like most important thing, like your mom or your dad, don't flip them upside down. But the end thing, we always, in life, isn't it funny? The end is always the least important. A food chain, I don't know what the end is, like a plankton or something. I mean, if you had to save a man's life versus a plankton, would you have a choice? No. Man, because he's on the top of the food chain, I would presume, because he's got a rifle and else. So, you know what I'm saying? So, the one that is not so important at the end, I want you to flip it. So, if you try 2 times 5, 5 times 2, 1 times 10, you must try 10 times 1. Right. So now we know what we're looking for. We're looking for the difference of 13. Not the sum, the difference of 13. So what is 3 times 5? 15. What is 1 times 2? 2. What is 15 minus 2? 13. Yay, we say. Okay, now that didn't work. We would try the next or the next or the next. There is only one combination that works. Now, when I've taught this to my grade 9s, I told them and 10s, circle the answers, because they've got to go in the brackets in the right order. And the guys on top, remember on top, important, go in the front. So it's going to be 3 and a ghost 1, and they take the variable, which is K. So we all know we don't need to show that ghost 1, but you understand the 2 has to be in that bracket, and the 5 in that, because you've got to keep the exact order. Yes, Lamb Chop?
You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. You know that means the signs are going to be different, right? We know that. So the biggest product, multiple, gets the first sign. Who's bigger, 2K or 15K? Most certainly 15K, the product. So that gets the minus, that gets the plus. Let's quickly check it. I'm taking my ghost 1 away. We've got 3K squared minus 15K plus 2K. There's my minus 13K. Look, my product. And there we have my minus 10. Okay, just to wrap this up. So we've got K equals 2. Take this 2 across. You got minus 2 divided by 3. Okay, I hope you all saw why I did that. Don't forget your or K equals to 5. But K equals to X to the 1 over 3, and that equals to minus 2 over 3. Now, because this is odd, we can have a negative, so don't say no solution here, because if I raise that to 3 over 1, I could raise that to an odd exponent. I just can't have a negative here. If the exponent had an even denominator, then I can't square root the even. That would be no solution. But if it's odd and the denominator is odd, I will get a solution. So here we're going to get, do you understand? That cancels ones, that cancels ones. We get x to the 1, and then you shower the power. Minus to an odd exponent stays minus. 3 becomes 8. 8 exponent. So this answer is minus x equals minus 8 over 27, or so x to the 1 over 3 equals 5 to the 1. Okay, raise 3 over 1, 3 over 1. These cancel, we get x, and that equals 5 to the 3, which we've learned. If you've been listening to me and Tanaka, it's 125. Okay, 5 to the 3, you can learn that one off my heart. Guys, I'm not going to do any more today. I've done that. The rest, question 3, when I send it to you, I've done it. So if you've been paying attention, you'll know how to do it. And then I put really the next 3 questions, very easy surge questions that I've kind of shown you, and then maybe a bit harder, but knowing your rules, you can work it out. I'm going to give you one clue though. If I say give me x to square root over square, simplify that. Always start on the inside, never start on the outside if it's not an equation. So do you agree that is the square root, and that is a 1, and that is a 2, so then that's just x to the 1 over 2. And then that is a 2. Think what you could do next. I don't want to give it away. Just think like that. Always start from the inside out if it's an expression. If it's an equation, if you want to square both sides, that's fine. Okay? But remember, you can't just sort of square an expression because you change. Are you with me? Okay, so you can't just do that to an expression, but you could to an equation. All right, I love you. Now I've got to rush to Greenside and teach my grade 12s. A double. So if my voice is even more croaky tomorrow, I apologize. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 12, and I need to have a photograph of today's attendance. Thanks, Haja. Bye, everybody.
I'll send it to you. Bye, ma'am.
Yeah.